Okay, I think we have lucky number 33 today because we have Chick with us, but we are having some kind of very strange and bizarre technical issue where I can't hear her and she can hear me. She's on with me and I can't hear her. So it's very odd and I'm not entirely sure what to do. Um so I can sit here and try to play with this thing, for another half hour, hour, or whatever it may be, or we can just try to get this thing underway and do the best we can with what we have. Um, so Chick is here. Naturally, it's going to happen on the 33rd episode. 33 is significant for a myriad of reasons that it's easy enough to look up. Hi, everybody. Hi, Yellow Sun. Hi, QP. I appreciate everybody being here. Chick is here with us. I can't hear her, despite having everything at 100%, and I haven't figured out exactly what the Oh, no. Hey, Chick, can you say something? Let's see if we can hear that on feedback. Chick is here with us. I can't hear her, despite having everything at 100%, and I haven't figured out exactly what the oh, no. Hey, Chick, can you say something? Let's see if we can hear that on feedback. Chick is here with us. I can hear her, despite having everything at 100%, and I haven't. Okay, so that's that. All right. Well, Chick is going to be with us in spirit, and she is with me in our chat. And I'm sure she can pop into to the chat anyway, and hopefully we'll have this thing fixed next week. I certainly would have tried to prepare earlier. It's just that we've had 33 other episodes and we haven't come across any kind of issues like this. So it's kind of I'm still poking around and a little distracted by this whole thing simply because it's very bizarre, really weird stuff. And I'm not really understanding what's happening, but yeah, well, yeah. So there you go. Um, it's probably some kind of weird setting or something very, or Google changed something, or they rolled something out, or I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Um, I don't know. So this week was kind of strange because of some of the activities that's been happening in California. It's been really rough out there, and I don't know how many people are out there. I hope you're not being affected by this because there's some videos out there that are just horrific. With the fires and the strangest things about these particular fires that everybody is talking about is the way in which the fires are actually burning and how they seem to be very selective in what they burn, and it seems to be almost entirely exclusive to human structures. Not entirely, but from a lot of the footage we've seen. Although there's been quite a bit of footage where people are actually driving through with the forest on fire on both sides, and then there was the footage of the actual fire tornado, and it literally looked like something you'd see in um, um, like something you see in Dante's Inferno, the Elon with Elon Musk's train. Ooh, what's that all about? See, I wish you. Oh man, I'm missing it. This is such a bummer. I miss this whole Elon Musk thing. So apparently there's something going on with the fires in Elon Musk. So I'm going to rely a lot more on the chat here for everybody to kind of guide me with some of the things that you've perhaps kept your ears peeled about. I know there's been minor. I've laid off a little bit. I've a little bit on the simply because it's so overwhelming, and frankly, it's pretty depressing. to be quite honest. But if you noticed, I did a kind of a tongue in cheek naming of the show of Melancholia and the Infinite Sadness, a riff off the album, the Smashing Pumpkins album, although not a total riff off the album, but talking about the movie. And if you remember if you ever saw the movie, you know that essentially there's a second planet screaming towards Earth, and inside this planet, or coming with this planet is a series of other things and anomalies that happen before the planet actually slams into Earth. And there's like this window of weirdness that happens. It's almost like the closest thing that you're going to get to a supernatural movie from an obviously purely materialist point of view. And it's very strange how human beings in the movie react to each other and one another once they know that their time is pretty much up and the planet is pretty much up. If you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend it. It's very slow at first, and it's pretty poignant because it starts off with a wedding, and yet everyone knows that the world is going to end. And I thought for the longest time I was going to include that into my 2012 series, but I ended up stopping the 2012 series for a myriad of reasons that I have in the playlist for 2012. And let me go back to and see if I'm missing anything with Chick here. Hey, Chick, you still there? It's almost as if Chick is sending me Morse code from Mars or something. Yes, I'm still here. Excellent. This is a very odd and very strange episode. Like I said, it's pretty poignant for the 33rd episode. If you're into any kind of conspiracy culture, you know how significant the number 33 is, or if you're into the occult or anything like that, you know how important 33 is. So it's I started to so anyway, the movie, yes. I wanted to talk about it being an allegory for the message that I was sending out back in the 2012 series, and that, you know, perhaps the movie, because it came out at the time that it came out, was, if you remember in the 2012 series, I said the world ended in 2012 and that we're rippling out from the extinction event. And as we do, things will become more and more chaotic because it's that ripple becomes weaker and weaker. And the ripple itself represents how the systems that make existence, they become weaker in that ripple, in that cymatic ripple. And these last weeks, whether it's the World War II thing or it's California being set on fire and fire tornadoes and creepy and strange creatures being driven out of the forest. Certainly, things like that. It makes me think of last year whenever I was head on into my 2012 series and making me think about that. And I always thought that there would be a series of relics, a series of time capsules that would be there in allegory form that would remind us of how things were before the world ended. And, when I was doing the 2012 thing, I was speaking as if the world had already ended and we were already in the afterlife, and explaining what what is going to happen as we pursue um, our own individual interests and how those play out, in this afterlife. And I thought that the movie, because I saw a video explaining it recently, I thought it was pretty poignant to point that out. And just know I'm going in this general direction because I'm kind of rudderless without Chick, I realized. And I'm not used to doing this very often. like this without her. So I realize how important, I kind of need her. So, but anyway, so I was thinking, what if there was before the extinction event that causes things like the Mandela effect, there were things that sort of were able to skip the record, from that point of superposition, and they were able to come down and explain to us exactly what happened to us in a way that we're able to digest, you know. And one of the easiest ways to digest something would be in the form of entertainment. Um, and in the form of movie entertainment in particular, because it's it's um it's very digestible for all different kinds of people that are in all different kinds of situations. And particularly if you're time strapped, oftentimes you don't have time to read a whole book. And a lot of people they look down on people who don't read a lot. And I think that's a shame because I don't. If you don't read all people, then I understand that the demands of modern life hardly gives you the luxury of time to read an entire book. It's much different than it used to be. And time itself is obviously speeding up or slowing down or doing both at the same time. But I thought the movie was a was like a spark that jumped over the event, and it landed right into one of these ripples that we're experiencing right now. And indeed, I sometimes play on the idea that I wasn't serious, but I'm sort of half serious about the 2012 thing. And I don't know, I said it I started it in February of 2017, and true enough, indeed, life has gotten stranger since then. And, yeah, like Chick says, the synchronicities, the coincidences are off the wall. They're ramping up so much. And as they ramp up, the noise and the static and the friction and the fear, it ramps up and it gets louder and louder and louder. And we can feel it all the way into our bones. And and I'm wondering, will there be a point where there's nowhere that isn't experiencing these kinds of things? And these are musings that I've had now for, you know, since February 2017. But there's almost nowhere to hide. For us on the East Coast, it was the hurricane, and now on the West Coast, you have the fires. All over the world, you have just these disaster after disaster after disaster. And And in a way, it's kinda strange because I'm still when I'm hit with numeric synchronicities around me, it's almost as if I'm reassured that even though I'm in the middle of all this madness, somehow I'm a part of it, and somehow I'm not a part of it. And and oftentimes it gives me new perspectives to think about the Mandela effect, like with superposition, or the fact that, I think that the Mandela effect itself is all encompassing in terms of all kinds of paranormal activity, ghosts, and all those things, because it deals with time, and I think it all centers around time. And those ghosts are just speaking from another time period, and yet they're here with us. They're all around us, and they're all with us. And I just I just feel sometimes as if the Mandela effect itself has been and can be and continues to be, as people wake up and I hear their stories as they wake up, that they remember the exact month and the exact year that they woke up, that, it's the reason why we all get that feeling now that we're kind of in this together. "Hey, look, 33 are watching, 33rd episode." Um I'm just reading you guys' stuff right now. Wouldn't there be a lot more ghosts? Well, I don't know, depends on, it depends on what you think of as a ghost. I mean, I don't think about ghosts anymore the way that I used to think about ghosts, especially, with the Mandela effect. I've explained that before. What the way that I look at ghosts now are, it's they potentially are just people like we are, and, they're just in a different time period, and somehow that 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 veil is too thin, so there can be communication between those veils. And if you guys remember, I did a lot of experiments that I've halted, after the Philadelphia experiment because of the ramifications of those experiences. I was afraid, and I didn't fully understand what I was looking at and what I was working on. Um, but I fully believe that, most of the paranormal activity that is out there, the traditional stuff, you watch the ghost shows and things like that. I believe that it has to do with this post 2012 period that we're in, and that this post ripple, as it gets weaker, it's suddenly going to dissipate into where all of those all of those conventional rules that seem to be defied at the quantum level will suddenly be defined at our level. And, um, I think it's going to resonate better with people, and they'll understand it more deep down. Um, Summer 2015. Yeah, everybody in the chat, when August 2015? For each person in the chat, when did you first realize that you were Mandela affected? And I'd like to see that if you don't mind. Right, exactly, Dark Slayer. I don't even define a ghost the same way anymore. I don't even define death the same way anymore. I don't define life the same way anymore. Buster 1978 says October 7, 2017. Michael Muska says July 2016. Come on, everybody, jump in and tell me. When did you realize you were Mandela affected and you realized the world wasn't? Okay, so Scotty Balo says it was late July or early August. And Scotty, is that this year or was it what year? Late July, early August of what year? 2015. Okay, great. J. Crow, August 2015. Chick, 1996, 2008. Most recently, November 2016. PSO 2015. Abby Normal, April 2018. Bones McCoy, fall 2015. The Reader 2015. Jayden Shivers, September 2012. That's interesting. Bling Laden 2012. I heard a coast to coast on other people remembered Mandela dying in the 80s like me. Okay. Yep. Eyes of the Beholder 33 2015. QPia July 2015. Lucky Doer Midsummer 2010. Michael, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name, October 2016, but thank you for chiming in. Yellow Sun, March 2017, when I found it was called ME, but I was seeing changes before that. Abby Normal, started getting hints around 2014, but fully this year. 88 netter, sometime in the 90s, but didn't know what it was till 2015. Got it. Yeah, talking about the potential of, early 2012 and Dark Slayer early 2012, but now I'm just starting to think maybe it was sooner and I just didn't realize it. Right, exactly. Michael says, but 2016 was when the lights came on and you were in wide awake mode. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Up. Asian Smith, June 89, 91, 95, 2001, 2005, 2008, 2010, 2012. And lastly, February 8th of 2016, Jaden Shivers, September 12th, around the time when the skies changed. Yeah. Oh, but by the way, that was great. I think it was Asian Smith putting out about now in Wiki, the sun is officially white. We no longer have a yellow sun. and we now have a white sun, which just shows you you are not in the same place that you were before. I also felt like gravity and the feeling of breathing changed in 2012. I saw changes when I was between 3 to 5 years old in 1980, 81. Diana Odman woke 1/17/2017. Oh, you're new. Well, welcome. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. 88 nets are talking to Bling Laden. Exactly. The lungs have changed. So much as our heart has changed, our skulls have changed, our brains have changed. Yeah. Abby Normal says there was a major shift in my life on 3/2012, especially a giant jump in finances and a vacation. 2012, looking back now, feels like myself and family went to heaven. Yeah, exactly. See, and for me, when I was 17 and I had that NDE, I thought that would be it. But for some reason, for me, it was 2016. Um, it was the fall of 2016, was when I was fully awake to ME. And Rain on the Plains, 1982, right? Huh, yeah, OxyClean changed to Oxy years before, yeah, yeah. But, for me, it was then, and that's whenever I started to notice one by one, like, the sun is now white. It feels different, even the way heat feels on my skin is different. The way I perceive the people around me is different. Um, the way I feel stress is different. My body is constantly changing. Every day I wake up, it feels like I'm waking up to the first time to this reality, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. I also know that my reality is much more interactive with me, that I can communicate clearly with this reality, and in a lot of ways, it answers back. Chick and I, we've noted some of our experiments and our experiences, the Andy Warhol and all of those things. But it's much more interactive. I think obviously the synchronicities are off the charts. Um, and a lot of that reminds me of the idea that we all are experiencing our own realities. We just happen to be kind of stored together, and that the reality has to be created in this crude fashion um, to keep us in place, wherever this place is. Um, and it's very odd. I also saw somewhere this week that I didn't pay a lot of attention to I think it was the Kazam, movie that apparently, um, didn't exist, and, was it I forgot who it was. Can you guys remind me in the chat? It was the Kazam movie that was or was it Shazam? And it was, Sinbad, the movie that whatever the movie that was called that Sinbad was supposed to be in. But what I read about it that was so strange, and I don't know who brought that up to me. I think it was on Twitter or something. There was a person who was a working actor, and he played a taxi driver in the movie. It was Sinbad, right, exactly. Shazam, thank you. So how it went with the movie was, he put that as some of his acting credits, and because the movie and he told people was very upfront about being a taxi driver in the movie, and because the movie didn't it doesn't exist anymore, he eventually had to take that off of his resume, essentially, and so you have a first person account saying that they were on set of this movie, Shazam, with Sinbad, and now they've had to go back on that and change their resume, and, what a what a you know, what a strange way to twist your mind up, and to know that you lost that acting credit along with the geo changes and everything else. I mean, history is I mean, there and I think the thing too about the white sun that bothered me and sort of I knew I was never coming back is for some reason I'm relying more and more on Google, and I'm relying more and more on Wiki. simply because I know everyone else is, and it's quickly becoming a an extension of our own brains and what we determine is the truth or not. And this week was significant, and it made me kind of sad was because, um, it made me sad because now that they've acknowledged that the white sun is here, that means that it's here to stay, and that all of those paintings and little finger paintings that little kids did of yellow suns, that it's that's meaningless now and it's gone, and that it's over with, and wherever that place was, we've moved on from there. So even if we aren't quote unquote technically dead, we've we've died in a way that we've moved on to something that isn't where we were originally at. And in a lot of ways, that's that same kind of loss, that we'll never have that yellow sun again. And it makes me sad. And Chick saying how weird it would be to have to take back an acting credit. Yeah, that's and it's something about that confirmation and reading that in Wiki that it really hit home to me that we're really here. This is very real. And and I remember whenever I first started talking about it, people would say, the sun is yellow. You're just, it's a time of day or it's something else. There'd be a million other things. And slowly those things started to dissipate and they went away. And now the very thing that we know is an enemy, but somehow becomes the official creator of narratives, which is Wiki, um, which is Google, has now confirmed in a lot of ways. There's a lot of subtext there for MEs that yes, the sun is white and what you are experiencing is real, and you have moved on from where you were before. And in a lot of ways, that implies what? That implies an afterlife. That implies that there was an event where you were someplace where there was a yellow sun and you know the yellow sun that would be portrayed on countless refrigerators from little kids where they would draw mom and dad and have the sun in the corner and it was yellow with the little streaks of yellow, that no longer applies. And I wonder, I don't have children, I wonder if people who have children out there, I wonder if they draw little white suns now. Because clearly when you um Scotty, they always either show or hide with your stuff. Uh I'm gonna, what, Scotty? No, I'm gonna keep that hidden because I wanna keep this rated G. So, but I'm not like punishing you or anything. It's just Google is deciding because can you I appreciate I appreciate your sentiment. Can you rephrase it, please? So I don't get like a strike or something because I will show it, but I prefer it. He's just Scotty was just saying basically that he's sad, but he's willing to let go of this place. So no, it's cool, Scotty. Everything's fine. Um this is a lonely place to be. Visualizing or experiencing being apart from the physical body, perhaps with the ability to change location to greatly enhance cognition, sensation of movement, and or sense of presence. That's Agent Agent Smith. So, hmm. Yeah, Jayden Shivers was saying, I know what you're saying. 2012, I fell asleep behind the wheel of a car, woke up because the grooves on the freeway was real loud. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, it was, sometimes it's weird. Really big events can not rattle me. And I'm weird like that, really big events, they won't rattle me. But then I'll see something like that where Wiki confirms, and we know it's Wiki and that it can be manipulated and that there's just something about it that hit deep down that the sun is white and that there was no there wasn't anyone wasn't even trying to correct it or change it. It's like this broad acceptance that there is a white sun. And I think for MEs, for us, um, I think that is the biggest and most important reminder that we are no longer where we used to be. Um, and who knows? Maybe this group discovery that we're all on is part of this process, and maybe this is just the natural process. I heard that they're redoing Jacob's Ladder, and in my 2012 series last year, I did a video on Jacob's Ladder. If you look in my playlist for 2012, I did something on Jacob's Ladder, and what was so important about Jacob's Ladder was that in that last moment before he passed away, he lived an entire life because he refused to let go. He refused to let go of that former life that he had. So he created an entire life. And as he created that life, he refused to let go of it. And as he refused to let go, he descended further and further into the abyss. And then, of all people, his chiropractor, Michael, with the light above him, was always there giving him gentle advice of how to let go. And it was such a poignant and sad movie. It was so sad. And he had lost his son. And at the end of the movie, when he's running out of this abyss in this hospital, and they're trying to do all kinds of things to him, but he gets out. And Michael, his chiropractor, which obviously is his guardian angel, and perhaps is the archangel himself, the Michael, um, gets him out of there, and he runs down the street to his old home, and his no one's there. His family isn't there because they're gone, or he's alone, and his son's there. And of all people, it's Macaulay Culkin at the base of the stairs, and then he walks him up the stairs, which is obviously a metaphor for him. And at the top of the stair, there's a bright light, which is the metaphor for letting go and going into the light. And it's kind of strange that it's a white light at top, and here we have our sun that's a white light, and none of us can accept that sun. We're all refusing to accept that white sun in our own way. I mean, I see the white sun and I get angry. I mean, I have a freckle in my eye, and because of it, one of my eyes are very sensitive, and it's an anomaly. It doesn't affect my eyesight, but because of the freckle I have inside of my eye, um, um, I have to. It's very sensitive, and since that white sun, I've actually had to buy sunglasses, and I wear sunglasses now, because it aggravates it. And my eyes, they're the outside of my eyes are blue, and then the inside of my eyes are very dark brown, and particularly the one eye that has the freckle. And I get up in the morning to look to make sure. For some reason, I'm always afraid that's going to change, but it hasn't. But what has changed, with my eyes, is that I can no longer stand that sun, and I actually had to buy a pair of prescription sunglasses, and I wear them now because I cannot stand that sun. And my whole life, I've loved living around the beach and around the water, and I love the sun, and I love being out in it. And now I just want to move somewhere where it's gray, and maybe inland in the mountains somewhere where there's no sun. That way I don't have to look at it. And I don't know, maybe that's my own metaphor of not accepting, like I'm at the bottom of the stairs. I'm not accepting what's real. And that wiki article somehow touched me in a way that I refuse to accept in some way. And then I peacock around because of the power of now, like I've got some kind of an enlightenment or some understanding because I was able to quiet the voice in my own head. But I can't accept something as immovable as the sun, and somehow that may be something very big. And the wiki article, it did something. I don't know what, but it did something. And, I don't know, it's very strange. I went on this rant just now, but, hmm, I used to love the beach and I can't do it anymore. Yeah, sun gazing, exactly. Exactly, chick. People and worshiping the sun and the sun gazing, and there were hours, early hours in the morning where you could. I'm not going to new age out on you guys too hard, but you could look. You used to be able to look at a certain hour in the morning as the sun would rise. Because I'm right on the East Coast, you could get on the beach, and as the sun would rise, it would open up your pineal gland. And now the way in which the sun looks, it still is a faint reminder of what it used to be, but nothing like it used to be, where you'd be able to sit on the beach and you could stare at the sun as it would come up, and you could stare right into it, and it would be able to it's supposed to be very good for you. And now it's not. It's just not. It's just something that is just it's just I don't know what it is. I don't know what that thing is. It's just this, and it's constantly there, and it's just awful. It's just awful. Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Agent Smith says, yeah, he about the white sun, and they're forcing us to accept it. It's a cosmic override of sorts. Yeah, it's the in a way, I feel like it was sort of a in your face Mandela effect. Even though Wiki can always be overwritten, even though Wiki can always be, it's absolutely it can change day by day, but there's just something about someone out there just saying it out loud that we know is not part of the ME community, and that the sun is white, and it always has been. And this memory that we have of a yellow sun, and the way it used to feel on your skin, how wonderful it used to feel. God, I used to love it. You'd sit there and you didn't care. The way it felt on my face and my arms, and and now it's not the same thing. It's like, I don't know, it's like losing a parent. You've lost something, like a family member or something, I guess. Um, and I used to just love it. I loved it, and I just don't now. And I'd prefer to stay in. I don't even wanna look at it now. And it's sad because, I'm turning around and I'm looking out my window now, and from this perspective, though, it still kind of looks the same out there, but whenever I go out there, the sharp white of the light, that sharp whiteness, you know, it's just that warmth, that yellow, the warmth, almost like a reddish yellow, that hue. It was so pretty, and it's gone. And I was like, it's like the last coffin nail was that wiki article, because it was an announcement to everyone henceforth who's not in the Mandela Effect community. You now have a white sun. And I think one of the most aggravating and sad things is that they all will accept it, and it will all go away. A kook corner of the conspiracy or truth or culture that no one takes seriously. And we know that there used to be a beautiful, beautiful yellow sun, and it doesn't exist anymore. Hmm. Closing the yellow sun, you would open your eyes and everything would look green. Oh yeah, I remember that too. And I also remember you could stare at the sun and move your head around a little bit, and you could close it, and then you would see those streaks when you would close your eyes, and all of that's different now. That's all gone. I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of us accepting it. Maybe something immediate will happen, and we'll shift away from one another. Who knows? I mean, obviously I'm it's a gross speculation here, but that could be part of our growth process, because, part of if you're lucky enough to live a long life, I'm starting at that arc, if I'm not already gone, that you start to lose more in life than you gain in terms of people. Um, and that certainly is the case for me. And that's just natural. That isn't me, woe is me. That's part of the natural arc of life, but that you will lose more. Yes, Jayden shivers, and I too have to take a vitamin D supplement, by the way, and they're saying that doctors are saying that they have to, take a vitamin D supplement, and it's very important to do that. Um, Agent Smith saying got trolled when was researching the white sun, especially with that video. Interesting. Maybe we could start. Let's start. All right, all right. You know what, Agent Smith? I think we should do a white sun thing with Chick. I think we should. I think we got something here. This white sun thing seems to really be touching on people. Yeah, and I think it's because it's there. It's there. You walk out right now, it's going to be there. You know. Yeah, I have to take a vitamin D supplement. Straight up, I have to take a vitamin D supplement now. Um, Jaden Shivers, I was born in '74, and I know the difference between the suns. Yeah, it's yeah. Prelim, how you doing, man? Yep, I noticed the increasingly absence of the yellow sun in '96, but then by 2008, it was glaring and annoying all the time. Interesting. Alienation. We are not of this world. Yep. Yeah. And that's just part of it. That's just the biggest reminder to me um, that we are connected is that sun. And that article was just, it was just, it was terrible. So, but again, I'm just anybody out in California, I'm rooting for you that you can pull through all this, and if it's affected you in any way negatively, I'm really sorry. And Rusty Knuckles, I don't really get into I try not to get too far into things like that, but artificial suns, things of that like that. I tend to think that we are shifting into different versions of reality, which obviously tomato to some people when they think of like kooky ways of thinking about reality. But certainly, I mean, I don't know any. I can't tell that this doesn't have something to do with NASA and some kind of artificial sun or Project Bluebeam or any of those things like that. I have no idea. Certainly, it could be something like that. Yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. Um, yeah, the sun is much smaller. Have you guys noticed also too that the moon you can see in the middle of the day and it's almost next to the sun now? It used to be you'd look at one horizon, there'd be the sun. You go look at the other horizon, then there'd every now and then you'd be able to see the moon. Now you see the moon almost every day in the middle of the day, and it's very close to the sun now. It's very odd the way you can see the moon and how close it is to the sun. It's weird. It's very strange. I don't know. I'm just reading you guys' stuff. Yeah, the moon is out almost all the time now. Yeah, chick. I don't think the moon and the sun are the same size. Not by a long shot. I think the moon, and sometimes is bigger, sometimes it's smaller, but certainly the sun is much smaller. Thank you, Rusty. Chuckles. He says he values my work. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But all right. I know it wasn't a full hour, but I'm without my co-pilot, so I'm a bit lost here. I was ready to wax poetic, and I had some things I was hoping we could bounce off, but Chick and I, what we'll do is we'll try to get together and work out some of these technical difficulties, over the next day or two, and maybe we can try to get together again, maybe midweek or something, and hopefully fix whatever issue this may be. It may be as simple as both of us doing a reboot or me doing a reboot or something like that. Okay, NBC, Agent Smith says that NBC has an article which tries to validate the wacky moon phases. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, another roundtable with, Agent Smith. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be fine with that, particularly with this the sun thing. It's really touched a lot of people. It's, because it affects and that can be like our bat signal for MEs. That could be the thing, you know? That's the big one, whether you remember, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, whether you remember Ed McMahon, whether you remember, what Darth Vader said, the one thing that is tried and true every day that you're going to experience, barring it being a rainy day, would be the sun. Alright, everybody, I appreciate that. Hey, can you guys do me a favor and give me a thumbs up? And, tell everybody about the channel, that you can. Send it out. Yeah, the emoji to the sun is still yellow. Exactly. Exactly. That right there is residue, chick. Absolutely, that's residue. But yeah, if could you guys give me some thumbs up and, we'll work out these technical issues. You know what was weird is on my other show, The Lizard Ritual, that I do tomorrow, on Truth Frequency Radio, I had technical issues, a different kind, but I had technical issues there as well. But, alright, guys, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Um, all of us, Emmys, I hope you guys have a great week. If you have anything to share with me, jump on Twitter or drop it into, comments here because, I've been trying to be more diligent about those comments now that I'm really aware of, YouTube, they drop them in all these different buckets. So, yeah, yeah, the emoji sun, if it turns white, oh my gosh, what a nightmare. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. And I'm gonna knock off. And Chick, I'll talk to you soon. We'll work out this. I'll do a reboot or something, and hopefully that'll fix it. And then you and I can maybe get together and try a private broadcast to try to see if we can't work out the issues. And then I'll catch up with everybody else later. All right, well, take it easy.